Welcome back to another edition of the Unknown Sports Podcast. My name is AJ Musser. Joined with me as usual is Hunter, Harris, and Austin Fyffe. What is up, fellas?
Oh, another day in paradise, boys.
I hate our intro so much. I hate our intro so much. It's so clunky. You think?
Because, I mean, do you want me to starting the show off with some trivia?
From?
What do you got for us?
If we do the from game, it'll just be you winning and Hunter sitting there blank stared like into the camera.
Until we get into the mediocre running back carousel.
All right, where did James White go to college?
Come on, man. Marquette. I don't know.
Wisconsin.
That's Wisconsin.
I was hoping you would lead off with like Theo Riddick or something like that.
Notre Dame.
No.
You're still never going to beat me in that game.
Yeah, no.
All right. Let's get going, boys.
Yeah,
we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do have a lot to talk about. This week, we are not going to feature AJ's quarterbacks. We're going to do a buy or sell segment at the end of the show because there's just too much good stuff to talk about than us trying to figure out how I should do my quarterback rankings. But let's get started with our predictions. Austin, you've been keeping our totals of how we've done this season and stuff. Can you read those off for us on our predictions before we get going?
Well, I'll start with I hope to God no one's actually putting money on any of our picks because they will be big.
I hope we're not putting money on our picks.
We're not going to talk about that, AJ. AJ has 19 wins through 3 weeks, leading the race. Hunter has 18 and I have 17. So the best of our picks is a full 10 games under 500. So we are killing it so far.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll turn the season around. I got to get it going. Once you get the bye weeks, though, that's when it gets a little easier because it's 2 less games for you to get wrong.
You're a big numbers guy, aren't you, AJ?
No, I'm not. Not unless they're put in front of my face. Then I can read the numbers.
To be fair, I feel like we're pretty clear about when we feel really strongly about a game versus not, because there's a lot of games here where we are going like, I mean, I guess I'll take, we wouldn't put money on that game.
I feel like we should do locks, and that should be like, we can keep our records of like our picks, but like the real important one is like, hey, I'm locking this one in because I guarantee it. Like, you know what I mean? But they can't be like, and I guess, we have to do them against the spread.
Yeah.
So. And I'm good with that. Like more than 1 point because that's basically how I'm calculating it.
Well, I think it'll be its own, just it's its own thing.
I got you.
So it's off to the side. Yeah, it'll be highlighted. It can be gold. Winner gets a gold sticker, gold star.
Because last week I know I had 2 games that I actually bet on, and I was right on one of them. So that's like 50%.
Still 500. No, it is 50%. Good job. You're a pretty big numbers guy, aren't you, Hunter?
All right, so what's the first game we got?
All right.
Get this over with.
Getting started with Thursday night, we have a game that I don't think anyone wants to watch. We've got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. Hunter, I'm going to start this one with you. What do you think of the Urban Meyer NFL experience 3 weeks in?
I think he's gone at the end of the year almost. Like,
not even fired, just leaving. Like, he's like, I'm just done.
How much regret do you think he has now that USC is open?
12 out of 10.
He would just leave.
No, I don't think he wants USC. I just think he doesn't want to coach football.
No.
Well, why's that? Educate me. Why wouldn't he want USC?
Because he could have had
it.
Ohio State, which was better.
He would have it. He's been on USC's campus unofficially the last 2 off seasons when they've been debating firing Clay Helton. If he wanted the job, he would have taken it.
Yeah.
But his heart can't handle it, guys.
It's health, dude. Nothing is more important than health, Hunter. Come on, dude.
Such BS, dude. I hate Urban Meyer. Have I said that on the podcast before? I hate the guy.
Hang on. This is a good question. Who's a bigger flake, Urban Meyer or Kyrie? That's good.
That is a good one.
Well, Urban's not
I'd
gonna flake if one of his employees comes to him and say, "Hey, look, this thing happened with my wife, and I got to have you keep this under wraps." Like, he's solid there.
Yeah, I think Urban is obviously by far a worse dude, but I think Kyrie's a bigger flake.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. Let's talk a little bit about the Bengals. Joe Burrow going against Trevor Lawrence, who has been very subpar, and the Bengals offense, which has been pretty good, and Jamar Chase has been a nice little addition. I'm sure they aren't totally regretting not taking an offensive lineman since he's been pretty productive. What do you think about that, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, they must have put stripes on the ball from the preseason to week 1, so that obviously helps out.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a stud. I mean, we all knew the talent that he had coming in. To me, the drops in the regular season were more a product of lack of playing time. With him taking last year off with COVID, I don't think it was necessarily ever a talent issue.
That was a pretty big offseason thing that I will raise my hand and say I fell for, that he had the drops.
We all have them every year. You buy in, Mike Davis, on what all these experts are saying about how they're going to be used and what's happening. And it's just not true. And I mean, it's not necessarily that any reporters did their job wrong. They just reported what they're being told.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. But
what it is.
We knew that this Bengals team was almost going to kind of be like a light version of the Cardinals. They're going to spread the ball out a ton. They're going to throw the ball a ton. They're going to bring college offense to the NFL, and they're going to see how many games they can just outscore people. The defense isn't great. Last weekend, it didn't look too bad, but that's because Big Ben is not even a shell of himself. He's been abysmal this year. Can't even walk without falling over his feet. But yeah, so I think Cincinnati's got this wrapped up. I'm done siding with what I think Vegas is trying to tease me in with the Jaguars, and I'm taking the other side.
They teased you good last week.
They were winning for a good portion of that game. I thought I was.
Oh, I just meant with your picks in general last week.
Oh,
walking away with four dubs on the week is pretty tough. So I'm taking the Bengals in this one just because the Jags are abysmal. They're really bad.
They're really trying to get you to pick the Jags just with that half-point hook, too.
Yep.
They're really trying to get you to do it. I'm taking Bengals as well.
I scribbled it out.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm taking the Bengals, too. I hate why we have to have like the worst Thursday night. Why is the worst game of the week always Thursday night?
Because every team has to have at least one primetime game, I believe. And Thursday night's like, hey, I don't want to have the Jaguars on Monday night or a Sunday night game, so let's just throw them on Thursday.
I think it's almost a test by Goodell. I think he's like, will you guys eat this crap up? What if I give you Houston and Carolina? Oh, you watched that game? All right, fine. Here you go. Take Jacksonville, Cincinnati. I haven't looked down the schedule, but it wouldn't surprise me if we have like Houston, Detroit coming up here soon.
Honestly,
I'm trying to think see if I can find a better one than that.
Isn't okay because ESPN, I believe, is doing the Thursday nights right now. Doesn't
Chicago,
CBS take that over or NBC take that over later this year? Does anyone know that?
The Thursday night?
NBC?
Yeah, Thursday night. Thursday night football typically starts out the first 4 weeks are on NFL Network. Then they jump around. I think it goes to Fox, and then it goes to CBS. I think it just rotates.
Okay.
It's
the
on
networks.
Fox through Thanksgiving at least. It's basically exclusively Fox this year.
That might be who's broadcasting it, because I know they've been on NFL Network, but the Fox crew has been doing it.
Well,
I think it'll move to Fox too.
They do both NFL Network and Fox when they do the locals.
Yeah.
So it's always on NFL Network.
Yeah, that's definitely enough talk on the Thursday night game. We actually talked about that for like 4 minutes longer than we needed to. Moving on to the next one, let's start with Sunday's games, the 1 o'clock or noon games, whatever your time zone may be. We've got the Washington football team at the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta coming off their first one of the season. Washington looking pretty disappointing. Washington's a 1.5 point favorite in this game. Austin, what do you got in this one?
It's Washington, and it's going to be a blowout. Atlanta's not good. I know Washington hasn't been fantastic this year, but I do anticipate that defense taking over at some point. The front fours, especially, is one of the best in the league. Chase Young hasn't been fantastic to start the year, but he's going to get on track. He's too good of a player not to, and Atlanta's just not great.
I look like
Hunter,
a
what do you
clown from what I said about the Falcons earlier this year.
That was what I was going to ask you, is what do you think of the Falcons so far?
Hey, they beat the Giants last week, man.
They did, and that's, that might be like one of their 4 wins this season. I noticed this with Atlanta every week that I watch them, because that's a team that I want to be entertaining, but they make moving the ball on offense look like the most difficult thing in the world. I don't know how much you guys have watched or how much the listeners have watched, but like they make it look like it's a struggle to move the ball downfield. They spent their first round pick on what's his name? Austin, help me out, from Florida.
Kyle Pitts.
Yes, they spent him on Kyle Pitts, who had like 1 target going into the 4th quarter. I'm like, this guy's a dynamic piece in your offense, and you're not using it whatsoever. Arthur Smith right now looks like a goon of a head coach with all like the game management that he's had and the play calling. And I don't know. Cordero Patterson is literally the bright spot of that team, and that's the funniest thing I think I'll say all season.
Hey, don't disrespect Cordero. Everybody loves some Cordero.
I'm also going Washington. I just can't pick the Falcons, even though everything about this line says go the other way.
I took Washington in this one because Atlanta just makes moving the ball and scoring the ball so difficult, and at least Heineke can score 14, 17 points a game, and Atlanta struggles to do that. So I'm taking Washington.
Heineke, honestly, low-key, pretty good player. Like he's not bad. He's a pretty good pro. I don't know if he's a franchise quarterback, but
does he have? I mean, I know it's the guy ahead of him, but so maybe that makes me biased. But doesn't he like scream Ryan Fitzpatrick to you guys? Because that's some like major
Gardner Minshew screams Ryan Fitzpatrick to me.
But Gardner Minshew sucks.
No.
Whoa. Okay, but we didn't even mention this. Gardner Minshew had 7 picks his entire rookie year with the Jags.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence has already surpassed that. So does Trevor Lawrence suck then?
Right now, yeah.
Okay. Because I agree.
Oh, I just thought of another buy or sell. I'm going to write it down.
Thought we had this set in stone for the show.
Sorry, I have another one that is actually a pretty good one. I'm going to bring up the next game and let's introduce it. Vegas, the desert, thinks this one's going to be a blowout, but we've got the Houston Texans at the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo's a 16.5-point favorite at home this weekend. I looked already. Tyrod Taylor's still out. He will not be playing this weekend, so it's going to be the backup quarterback of the Houston Texans and that squad at Buffalo, who looks like they kind of took a step in the right direction, maybe even a leap in the right direction. Hunter, did you watch much of that Bills game on Sunday?
Enough to just get the gist of, okay, this is good Josh Allen today, so they're going to win by a lot.
Good Josh Allen today. Austin, can you put Hunter in his place with Josh Allen for me real quick?
Yeah, we need to stop with Josh Allen slander. You said you wanted to see him do it again. He's doing it again.
He does this his entire career. You can't do this every 4 weeks when he has another good game after playing awful the week before.
Okay. All right. Patrick Mahomes sucks. He's inconsistent. He threw several picks and lost the game this week. So let's keep the standard regular there. Guys are going to have down games. Okay. Josh Allen is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. He's got a great play caller that is helping him out. But I mean, can you name 5 quarterbacks you'd rather have over him?
Yes. Yes.
Ow. Go for it. Give it to me.
Mahomes, Rodgers,
Yep.
Wilson. I'd rather have Lamar.
Really?
Yes.
You'd rather have Lamar. Get out of here. All right, we're going to move on. I don't have enough time to argue this, but you'd rather have Lamar over
Yeah.
Josh Allen. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The thing to me with Buffalo this season so far has been the defense. The defense has been very solid. It was kind of their downfall last year that they couldn't give Allen and that offense enough spots. They're only giving up 33% of the third downs that they're giving up this year, which is huge.
You complimented Buffalo's defense after I did last week, and you criticized me for it.
I did.
Thanks for coming
I'm
around.
I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong.
I know, I appreciate it. It's just making me smile.
It's been a huge spot for them, and the fact that they can get off the field on third down and give the offense as many possessions as they have this year is obviously helped them out a ton.
Stafford, Baker, probably rather have more than him even.
Oh, get out of here.
Did you say Baker?
Yeah. Now he's just trying to troll you, AJ.
Hey, Hunter, you can go to the elevator.
Brady.
I forgot something outside. Go to the elevator
Justin
and
Herbert.
walk about 200 feet and stand in the middle of the road and plan traffic for a little bit. No. Buffalo, yeah. I said at the beginning of the podcast for our second season here that I had this gut feeling that Buffalo was going to start out slow, and they did. And it looks like they turned it on last week, and now they're Buffalo of last year. Let's see if they can keep it going, though, and if they can just absolutely thrash the Texans. If this is close, then it's going to be kind of weird, but I'm thinking they should blow the doors off of them. Let's move on.
I'm also taking Buffalo.
Who did you take, Austin?
Buffalo as well.
Man, we all took Buffalo. We're eating the points this week.
Yeah.
Next on the list, we've got the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. Hunter, I want to let Austin go second, so I'm going to let you go first because he's going to have to take a deep breath here. He's going to rant for like the whole time we talk this game. But Hunter, can you talk up the Lions for me at all? What do you think about this Lions team? Because Austin's going to handle the Bears.
They've had a couple almost wins.
They did have a couple almost wins. You're right. What do you think of Jared Goff so far?
He's Jared Goff, the same guy that was in LA. I mean, he's not going to elevate a team. He's not going to drag the team down. Pretty much what he is. I think that I actually think Dan Campbell's doing a pretty good job. Seems like they're fighting in all of these games for the most part. They just don't have nearly enough talent on that team. So, but I am taking Detroit here. The Bears are just. I want to pick them because Fields is playing, but when the mismanagement is happening like it is, I can't do it. It's bad. And we have what? If you took away all the sacks that he had and everything, they would have 1 yard net offense, I believe, last week. Was it? Net passing. All right, go ahead, Austin. I know you got a lot to say.
So I texted
Austin, how do you feel about the Bears? Our timer says we have 9.5 minutes until the Zoom ends, so you can use that time.
Challenge accepted. All right. I texted you guys yesterday or Monday, whatever day today is. I've already forgotten.
It's Tuesday.
And I said it's a really good thing that we weren't doing the podcast tonight because the expletives that Hunter would have had to figure out how to censor during this next 9 minutes would have just been not even worth putting out there. You would have just had to cut the whole bit. I'm going to start calm, and I'm sure it's not going to end that way.
We're going to poke you.
Fields being sacked 9 times. Some of them were his fault. The more I went back and watched different guys breaking down film, there were some RPOs, that had quote unquote NFL windows that need to be thrown. They're NFL open. They're not Ohio State versus, Western Michigan open, but they're open nonetheless. However, the blatant, obvious mismanagement that the Bears have been under for since 2018, where for whatever reason Nagy stood out and got the best out of these guys, is just unacceptable. The fact that he didn't adjust, he never changed anything. Myles Garrett said before this game that he hadn't been chipped this much all of last year, as much as he had been chipped in the first 2 weeks. They had a running back chip him 1 time and had a tight end chip him 1 time. That was a total of 2 snaps. Now, percentage-wise, it's probably pretty high considering they couldn't move the ball, period. And I would totally believe you if you told me they didn't run 20 offensive plays, even though I know they did. He had 29 dropbacks. He had 9 sacks. It's 33% of the time he was sacked. I don't even understand how that's physically possible. I don't get how you possibly can get sacked on 33% of the time you drop back to pass with a guy that runs a 4.4 40. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, before I get too much farther, credit to AJ's team here. The Browns played their butts off. Okay, Myles Garrett was fantastic. Jadeveon Clowney's motor was fantastic. He wasn't making a bunch of sacks off of his first move, but he was chasing guys down, making sure plays didn't get too far downfield. He played fantastic this weekend. Again, Myles Garrett was great. To leave a 40-year-old Jason Peters one-on-one with Myles Garrett for 50% of the game, I could have asked my 16-year-old sister if that was a good idea, and she could have figured out that it wasn't. It just doesn't make any sense. Nothing he ever does make any sense. The second he gave up play calling last year, the offense productivity went up. I think I read today about 41% as far as expected plays outcome goes per play. And then took the plays back because he's just smarter than everyone else in the building because he thinks he's – man, I'm trying real hard not to swear.
Yeah, he thinks he's smarter than Major Lazer, dude, the OC.
So, again, and not
Major Lazer. I haven't heard that before.
Not that I think Bill Lazor is like a top 5 offensive
that a rapper,
in the NFL,
yeah.
But the inability to just admit that he's wrong or try to fix anything is totally baffling. Like, it makes no sense how anybody can have. I think that it was 129 days, if I'm correct, since they drafted Justin Fields. He had almost 130 days to come up with a game plan of how to use your first-round pick that you traded next year's first-round pick to get to, which, oh, by the way, while you're sucking and giving it away, the Giants just keep getting a better pick because it doesn't help you at all because of your complete incompetence of how to run this team. I cannot – it doesn't make any sense. Like, every time I try to turn around and go, well, maybe this happened. Nope, it's just blatant incompetency. The only positive note that I got out of this weekend at all in any way, shape, or form is multiple writers have talked to people inside the building that said if they lose to Detroit this weekend, he's getting fired. So I'm taking Detroit +3. I'm begging that they beat them outright because I need this nightmare to be over that's been over since that god-awful night when they played Philadelphia and that stupid field goal kick ruined my life.
Double doink. Chris Long brought that up on the Monday night broadcast last night. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, literally every time football's on TV, they bring it up. So I'm used to it now.
Hunter, what did you think about the Browns last weekend? Oh wait, hang on. We're on the. We don't need to talk about the part of the Browns. We'll get to them in a little bit.
Last week?
Yeah, what did you think about the Bears-Browns game?
I mean,
what did you think about the slaughter of Justin Fields?
That's a little better.
I mean, I'm embarrassed for Austin.
So yeah, Austin and I didn't want to like message in that group chat back and forth because everyone's got 2 cents on everything. So I was just texting Austin back and forth, and we were watching the game together pretty much. And I was like, we were going back and forth, and it wasn't even me like rooting for the Browns. I was like, why are the Bears not doing this? Like, why is X, Y, and Z not happening? Like, I said to you last night when the three of us were talking, watching the Eagles game, I was like, Nick Sirianni is a better coach than Nagy is because Nick Sirianni has a lesser quarterback in Jalen Hurts, but is at least catering the offense to give this guy a chance to be successful. Whereas he had Justin Fields out there playing like it was Andy Dalton out there, and it didn't work because Justin Fields can't read an NFL defense yet because, hey, guess what? That was his first time playing quarterback in the NFL for a full game. And not a great pass rush to go up against, and no one chipping Myles Garrett, who's probably one of the best defensive ends in the league, and Jadeveon Clowney, who was one of the best defensive ends in the league and still can play at a very high level.
Basic knowledge about stopping pass rush, I think we all know, and I'm sure most people have some sort of idea. Chipping the defensive ends, letting the running backs or tight ends hit them. Screen game is one of the easiest and most helpful ways to help your quarterback. Anyone want to take a wild guess the first time that Matt Nagy called the screenplay?
Despite just quarter.
Nope. Keep going.
No, it was in the first half. We talked about this. He threw a tight end screen in the first half.
It wasn't a screen. It was a flat
wasn't?
route. No, I went back and saw it because there was a bunch of people talking about it online.
Oh
It wasn't a screen. It was an outlet pass that Justin Fields read his hot route correctly. Was not a design screen at all. The offensive line got beat so fast it looked like they let the guys go because it was just a hot route pass to a tight end.
That's awesome. Okay, then when was the first screen?
There was 7 minutes left in the third quarter the first time he called a screen. Yeah. Justin Fields had been sacked 7 times.
Yeah.
He had been sacked 7 times before Nagy tried to adjust in any way, shape, or form.
One of the things that we were talking with Matt about last night while we were watching the game is the recycling of these coaches that always seems to happen in the NFL and why it makes no sense. I don't understand why guys like Matt Nagy, Hugh Jackson, Adam Gase, Freddie Kitchens, guys like this keep getting jobs when they clearly don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Hugh Jackson hasn't gotten.
Okay, I was just throwing out names. You know what I'm saying? Like Freddie Kitchens got fired from the Browns, immediately gets hired by the Giants.
Yeah, a tight end coach.
Yes. No, I understand. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Why are guys like Nagy getting jobs? Why are guys like Mike Pettin getting jobs?
Well,
why don't we just get
good
new people?
Coach and be an awful head coach.
But these guys are doing an awful job as assistant coaches too. Jason Garrett, for example. Jason Garrett's doing a terrible job over with the Giants. It just doesn't make sense to me why we keep recycling these guys over and over. Why don't we get new people in there? I'd rather take no-name, I don't know, Matt LaFleur or guys like his brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing out examples. Why you guys look at me like that? You understand what I'm saying?
Matt LaFleur? Wasn't he the offensive coordinator for the Rams? Or was it the Niners? Titans?
He wasn't well known in the league, though. You know what I'm saying?
If you're an offensive coordinator in the NFL, I'm pretty sure they know you run a league. I kind of get your point. I just think you're using really bad examples.
Probably am.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. All right. Next on our list, we've got the Carolina Panthers at the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas has looked pretty solid this year, but they're going up against a Panthers defense that also has looked pretty good defensively, offensively. We'll see what they can do against this decent Dallas defense. Austin, what are your thoughts so far this season on this Cowboys offense?
I mean, they're good. It's just kind of what we expected out of them. Is the defense wasn't going to be fantastic, and the offense was going to put up a ton of numbers. I mean, that's how they're going to have to win some games. However, I don't believe that's happening this week. Carolina's defense has been very good. I don't quite understand the spread. I'm not real sure why Carolina's getting 5 points here, but I'm going to take Carolina in the points for sure. At minimum to keep it close, but I think Carolina's going to win this game outright.
I understand this line. I don't think the Carolina Panthers are very good, and I think Vegas knows that. Their defense is pretty good. I'll give them that. Offensively, I just still don't think it's enough to overcome a team that's going to put up 40 like the Cowboys, for example. Sure, the Cowboys might mismanage that, and that's what makes me nervous about taking the Cowboys here, because they have an absolute awful head coach. Did you guys see last night him waiting to call the timeout? Did you guys see this?
I sent you that on Twitter.
Yeah.
It was atrocious. Peyton was losing his mind on the broadcast about that.
Yeah. My counterpoint to you, Hunter, is that I know Carolina. I'm with you. I don't think Carolina is definitely, obviously, not a front runner in that division. But that defense is outside of Tampa Bay, which Tampa Bay's defense hasn't been great this year because they've been dinged up. Is going to be one of the best defenses they play here in the early part of the season. And I trust Matt Rule way more than I trust Mike McCarthy. And if you're going to give me almost a touchdown on a team that's on a roll right now and a team that's really believing in their head coach, I'm going to take that every time.
I hear you. I just don't think they can score with them.
No, I don't either, but I don't think they're going to have to. I think this is going to be lower scoring.
AJ, where are we at with Darnold?
I haven't watched enough Panthers to have an opinion on Darnold to be 100% honest with you. But I will for sure be watching this game, so I can answer that question next week. So I'll take a rain check on your Darnold question.
I think I'm exactly right. Remember earlier this year when I said he's going to accidentally play himself into some money? I think we're right on par with my prediction here.
To me, he's Kirk Cousins, basically. Right? You think that's a good comp?
I think Kirk Cousins better than him.
Yeah, I do too. I
Really?
think Kirk's better than.
That's funny. I thought you guys might say Darnold was better for a second there.
No, but I'm you know, Hunter, that I'm higher on Kirk Cousins than most people, but it's because I like Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying Kirk Cousins is an elite quarterback by any means, but like I like what Kirk Cousins brings to a team and making them competitive. But that's all I'm going to say about Kirk because that's all you can say.
Darnold is playing pretty well when he's not getting pressured like he was with the Jets. It's easy. It's amazing how it does wonders for a quarterback. Because now people are starting to talk about how good he is again, and I'm like, I don't know if he's good.
Who's talking about him being good? Because if it's Colin Cowherd, that doesn't count because he's a homer for USC players.
How do you feel about an Andy Dalton comp?
That's fair.
Like when everything
same look in the eyes every play of the game.
Well, if everything's going right, he's a very solid quarterback, but the second things aren't going right, you realize what you really got.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's never going to be a perfect comparison.
Same thing for Kirk, though. All these guys, they're mediocre to bad quarterbacks, and whenever they get any sort of adversity, they're going to fold. So they're in that same class together.
And Kirk Cousins has won a playoff game.
Okay, sure.
How many did Andy Dalton win?
On a Hail Mary, you won a playoff game.
He's won a couple playoff games, dude. 2 of them. I'm taking the Cowboys in this one because for a reason you guys didn't mention, Austin, you kind of did, but I'm higher on the Cowboys defense than you are. You and I have kind of gone back and forth on this season that you're lower on them than I am. I like the Diggs guy, that quarterback. He's to me a top 5 corner in the league, probably number 5. But and Micah Parsons is a stud. Like, not really. They don't use him in coverage at all, but they scheme up some pretty good blitzes for him. Dan Quinn's doing a pretty good job as the defensive coordinator of this team. I give him a lot of props.
Yeah.
I think this Dallas defense is much improved. I don't think they're a good defense, but I think they're an average defense, which complements their above average offense really well. And I think that they'll beat good teams and they'll be competitive against good teams. And in a game like this, where you're going up against a hit or miss offense led by a Sam Darnold quarterback, I think this is a really good temperature check for the Dallas defense to see, hey, if they're actually good, they're going to stunt the Sam Darnold offense and not let anything happen.
What do you think Dallas's ceiling is?
Ceiling, NFC Championship.
Really?
I think
that means they have to beat one of Dallas or the Rams or the Packers.
Yeah. I think if they're firing on all cylinders come end of the season, yes, my best case scenario for Dallas is the NFC Championship and losing in it, not winning it, but making it.
That's way too high. I don't think they make it out of the wild card no matter what.
What's their ceiling if they start playing the best running back on their roster regularly?
God, you suck. I hate you so much. You're just awful. I can't believe we gave you a spot on this show. He's not better than Zeke. They complement each other well.
Pollard. They do complement each other well. Zeke can't carry a full workload and Tony Pollard can't. That's what Austin's been saying. You're just not wanting to listen to that part of it.
No, I don't want to listen
for that offense.
Next on our list, we've got the Cleveland Browns traveling up to the north to play the Minnesota Vikings. Cleveland's a 1.5 favorite on the road. Austin, we kind of heard your breakdown on the Browns a little bit ago. Tell me what you think about the Vikings so far this season.
I don't trust them. I told you from the start of this year I didn't think the Vikings were very good. The defense isn't very good. The only thing that led me to their win last weekend was the other thing that we had talked about, and that was that Seattle's defense isn't very good. I don't trust Minnesota to win any sort of big game in any way, shape, or form. Kirk Cousins continues to do this year after year, where he performs well in a game that no one really cares about or is watching, and then continues to crap the bed when anybody wants him to or needs him to perform well. So I think with Cleveland, I think their front four again is gonna really turn it on. You've got Denzel Ward and a lot of other corners there to handle Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And as long as Dalvin Cook's banged up, that offense is going to be stifled pretty good. I think Cleveland wins a pretty big year.
I'm obviously wrong now on the Minnesota Vikings are going to start the season 0-4 take. But you're right, Austin. That was kind of more of a reflection of how bad Seattle's defense is. Browns should win this game handedly, even though they're going to Minnesota. They just should. The Minnesota Vikings they're really, really bad. And plus, Cook's out, right? Is he out
I don't
this
think
week?
that's confirmed yet for this week, but it doesn't
Okay.
look.
Either way, I'm taking the Browns to cover for sure.
So, AJ, why are you again picking against the Browns? Tell us.
This might come as a surprise to you, but I'm actually taking the Browns this week
Whoa! All
in a
right.
Kevin Stefanski revenge game. They didn't let him be the sole offensive coordinator when he was there. He was only co-offensive coordinator, so I think he's out to go out and destroy this Vikings defense. I do think that he is actually going to take this game a little bit personally, and he's going to go out there and try to put up some major points against Minnesota. And I think that the Browns defense took a step in the right direction against Chicago last week and getting a little bit of confidence, even though a lot of it was on the Bears end, but like they got to get going. And even like when Fields had a little bit of time, which didn't happen very often in the run game, they didn't have a run game because the Browns were kind of clogging up all the holes. Great performance by your boy, Austin Owusu-Koramoah. I think he won Rookie Defensive Player of the Week in the NFL. Don't quote me to that, but he looked super good and was like really his breakout game of like, hey, he's in the NFL now. Like he had half a sack that really was lucky that Garrett even got half a sack on that because he was pretty much the one that took Fields down.
That was one that was Fields' fault big time, but
yeah,
doesn't take anything away from the play.
Yeah. And then but the dude can fly around the field. Greg Newsome looked pretty good. He's a little banged up. He's questionable for Sunday, but I think it was just like a little calf thing, so he'll probably play. But other than that, like this Browns secondary, knock on wood, has been healthy, which has been their problem the past few years. But now like they've got all their secondary pieces, and I think it's time for them to gel. And I think last week was a step in the right direction. So the combination of Stefanski wanting to just absolutely destroy the Vikings and the Browns defense taking a step in the right direction, I'm going with Cleveland this weekend. And 1.5 points makes that a pretty easy pick.
With you.
I agree. As far as matchups go, they should be able to pretty much run the ball over Minnesota too.
Yeah. Baker is a top 5 quarterback. You'd rather have Hunter. You disgust me.
Okay, part of that I was just picking at you.
Yeah, I know you were.
But legitimately, there's probably 7 guys that I'd rather have other than Josh Allen. But anyways, let's continue.
Moving on to the next game, we've got the Indianapolis Colts at the Miami Dolphins down in the fish tank. Miami is a 1.5 point favorite. This is going to be a pretty ugly game. We got Jake Brisket against the double sprained ankle of Carson Wentz, who can't move, went from like having a little mobility and like athleticism to now like he starts to do it. And he's like, oh crap, I can't run on my feet. The Colts look awful this season. They're 0-3. They look like they have no like chance of making the playoffs, and now they're getting a bone thrown to them saying, hey, you're playing the Dolphins with the backup quarterback. Here's your chance to get your season right. How do you think this game's going to go? Either of you?
Go ahead, Hunter.
The Colts are getting their first win of the season. Lock this in. This if we were doing locks, this is my lock of the week.
Oh yeah, let's do locks. Yes, you're locking the Colts. Austin, mark me
Locking
down
the
for.
Colts.
I'm locking the Browns.
I don't see a scenario where the Colts lose this game to the Dolphins. As bad as they've been, they've played good teams. I don't think they know their identity yet with Carson Wentz, but I don't think that the Dolphins necessarily know their identity either with Jacoby Brissett back there as quarterback. I know last week was pretty good, all things considered. The week before was trash, but I mean they are at home. Even though I just think the Colts are going to get it together here. They have to at some point. They got too good of a coach. How long can this slide happen? Like, really, are we thinking Reich is going to let this happen all season?
Until they play Houston or Jacksonville. That's how long the slide can happen. I think that the team is just not good. The defense hasn't been good like they were last year or the year before. The offensive line is struggling to put it together. Unlike you guys, I'm not a fan of their run game in Indy, and their receivers – I don't even think they're overrated because some people think that it's a decent receiving core, but I don't even think it's decent. I think it's one of the worst receiving cores in the league. I don't like anything about that Indianapolis offense, and the defense hasn't been what it was.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of this. I agree with both of you on different points. To AJ's point, the receiving core is not good. Michael Pittman has been a good find for him. He's been very good for him.
And he's like a 2 or 3 receiver.
Right. I think Frank Reich is too good of a coach to let this keep going, but dude, I don't know. Like I'm at a loss for words for Indianapolis because I had super high expectations for them this year, and they've been really bad. Jonathan Taylor has the most carries of any running back inside the red zone, and he has no touchdowns. He's just a guy that for whatever reason can't get it going. And then last weekend finally started to get it going, was averaging over 6 yards a carry, and they just quit giving him the ball. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
A lot of it is the fact that Quentin Nelson has been injured pretty much off and on all season. He got rolled up on last week as well. That's a huge part because people forget that offensive line that they had was it was like one of the worst in the league. It's the reason Andrew Luck retired.
Yeah. I mean, Quentin Nelson brought, kind of a nasty streak to that. And then everything kind of changed after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I just don't think the Colts is the Colts this year. I think that I in my predictions, I had them coming in second in that division, and they probably still will because the other 2 teams in the division are so bad.
Yep.
Like they'll come in second by default, winning 4 or 5 games. Because I don't think Houston might win 4 or 5 games if Tyrod Taylor comes back, but Jacksonville's not winning. Jacksonville's not winning over 3 games.
Yeah, Jacksonville's bad. See, the thing is that, like, I trust Reich, and so, like,
I do too. I think he's a good coach.
In my head, like, if he finds the right thing with Wentz and what works for him, and then the offensive line comes back, I could easily see this team ripping off 4 or 5 in a row and getting right back in it for this division. I don't think the Titans are that great either. Heck, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with them.
So
I
what
haven't
is it,
been impressed
Austin?
with any part of the AFC South at all.
What is it, Austin? Is it Carson Wentz? Is it the offensive line? Is it just the year from hell from them?
Yeah, basically. I mean, from the jump, the injuries that this Colts team have had, T.Y. got hurt before the season even started. Then you had the whole Wentz and Quentin Nelson thing where they missed all of, the back half of training camp and all of the preseason. And then you've got like you said, Hunter, Nelson continuing to be beat up with other injuries. You had Eric Fisher start of the year not on the team because he was still recovering from an injury last year. I don't think any part of that team has gelled yet. But I'm not ready to give up on him because I do like the coaching staff there. I can get back into a Chris Ballard rant another day and leaving blatant obvious holes on this roster. But That's for another time. I think they get the win here. I think they cover at minimum, which obviously there's no big spread there, but I'm taking the Colts.
I took the Colts as well. Moving on to our next game, we've got the New York Football Giants at the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is an 8-point favorite on this one. I don't have much to talk about with either of these teams. The Giants stink. The Saints are incredibly inconsistent, just like their quarterback. But I'm going with the Saints because I know they can score points and I know their defense can play, whereas I don't think the Giants can score points, and they're also very banged up on offense now with Sterling Shepard. Is he the one that pulled his hamstring? Because I think Slayton did too. I think they both hurt their hamstrings.
Shepard got hurt? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Shepard got hurt.
Really? He was on a tear this year. I didn't see that. Shoot.
Yeah, he's got a hamstring injury, so that's also why I'm going with the Saints, and I don't have anything else to add about this game.
Go ahead, Hunter.
Well, we've had this Saints conversation several times. Jameis, to me, we had the conversation of, is Jameis somebody that you can kind of corral, enough to just, because he's got all the talent in the world arm-wise, but like the last 2 weeks, what we've seen from this guy has been awful, Austin. Like, I swear.
Yeah.
The touchdown pass that he did throw last weekend was atrocious. It was one of the worst passes I've ever seen, and I can't believe it was caught.
Yep. No, I'm with you. You wouldn't even believe me, and I didn't because I just looked it up. Do you have any idea how many picks Jameis has this year?
1?
2. He only has 2. I can't believe it watching how he's thrown the ball, but I can't believe it. The only reason I'm taking the Saints here is that they're back home. They've had a horrid start to the season off the field because of the hurricane and everything that happened. They've been in Jacksonville. They were practicing in Dallas. They've been traveling literally everywhere, and they finally get to be home. And there is a human element to it, and Sean Payton's a really good coach as far as, coaching humans and getting the most out of them. So I'm going to take New Orleans simply for the fact that they finally get to be home this week.
Has Sean Payton ever coached something that wasn't human?
Probably.
We need to look that up now.
He coached Greg Williams, right?
What?
He's a monster. I don't know if that's human or not. Maybe. I could be wrong.
I like Greg Williams.
Do you get to use the whole... I like Greg Williams, too.
Put your nutsack in the C gap.
Yeah,
greatest
it's the
Greg
best
Williams
when they pay
quote
players
of
to
all
try to
time.
kill other people.
Yeah.
Was that season, AJ, was that season of Hard Knocks the best season of Hard Knocks you've ever watched?
Oh, yes, because it was also the first. And it was, Hard Knocks is a show that, like, if you don't care about the team, you don't care about the show. So,
well, I love that Hard Knocks with the Browns.
The Browns one was very good.
Yeah. You also had some good characters, also, in Greg Williams and Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley, and the players that were there were also pretty good. Yeah, we can move on from this game.
Yep.
Next on our agenda, we've got the Tennessee Titans at the New York Jets. Titans are a 7.5-point favorite against what to me is absolutely the worst team in the NFL. The Jets defense, that's what solid does, and they're not very good. And the Titans, I think the Titans are gonna just kind of mollywop them. I think Zach Wilson's gonna look a little bit better maybe, but I don't know. This isn't gonna be a game. I'm taking the Titans. Definitely not gonna watch this one either. I won't watch a Jets game this whole season. Sorry, Jets fans, if you listen to our podcast.
I really can't figure out if Zach Wilson's good or bad, and a lot of that is due to the fact that I was obviously very high on him coming out of college. I still am high on him, just the talent-wise, he's got it all. Thing is, he's getting absolutely murdered every single play. So is Justin Fields. All these guys that are just have offensive lines that are just horrid. It's tough to gauge how good they are. So I really don't know. I really don't know and he's one of these guys that can get ruined by his situation too. In this game though, I am taking the Titans as well. Titans don't have a good defense, but it's enough to. This Jets team is just so bad. They're just so bad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment anymore on it. It's the Titans. The Jets are just putrid.
Moving on to the next one, we've got the Kansas City Chiefs at the Philadelphia Eagles coming off that Monday night loss to Dallas. Chiefs are a 7-point favorite in this one, even on the road. Patrick Mahomes isn't losing this game. I don't know how much more we need to talk about this. They're right now 1-2 with a losing record, and there's no chance Andy Reid's going into Philly and walking away with an L.
No.
I'm taking the Eagles. Just kidding. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. There's been actually a really brutal spread, especially for AJ's golden rule. Kansas City in their last 11 regular season games, they are actually 1-10 against the spread. They have not been very good against the spread. They figure out ways to get games in. However, with that being said, Andy Reid going back to Philadelphia and showing off here, I think Kansas City might put up 50.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, yes, they could throw up a 50 burger just to prove a point to the whole league, not just to the city of Philadelphia, but like, hey, like we're still the Chiefs. Like we're
plus
still
Josh
here.
Gordon, dude.
Yeah, dude. Jason, we're gonna the podcast is gonna pitch in to buy your son. We're gonna buy him a little Josh Gordon jersey. Little Josh Gordon onesie.
I wish. Can I have 2 locks of the week? Because this is a lock if I've ever seen one.
No, that's no.
Kansas City is gonna crush them. If the Cowboys can put up 41 points on that defense, the Cowboys, I'm gonna take the Chiefs to blow them out here.
Yep.
That's kind of all the analysis you need.
Yep.
You thinking like a 60 cheeseburger, dude? A 50 is just a normal burger, but on it.
Hey, quit making Andy Reid hungry.
Yeah. Oh, get well soon, Andy Reid.
Oh, plus we have the players fighting for Andy Reid because he fought for them. Element 2 on this. They might get that cheese and bacon, AJ.
I'm putting a lot of money on a Chiefs cover this week, I think. Join me, Austin.
The Eagles win. Cardinals, Rams. Austin. Arizona's kind of snuck away with some wins this season. They've avoided the speed bumps that I talked about. Does it prove that they're a pretty good team, or are they just getting lucky?
No, they're a good team. I told you guys before the start of the season that they weren't going to come in last. Seattle was. And that Arizona is going to be a good team in this division. This is the best division in football.
Agreed.
And I don't think it's particularly close. However, what comes along with being the best team in football, or the best division in football, is that you have the best team in football in there, and that's the Rams. I don't think this game's going to be close. I think the Rams defense is the huge deciding factor here, and I think the Rams are absolutely going to blow them out. I've been on the train. I'm going to continue to be on the train until they prove me wrong, and probably still give them another 2 or 3 chances because that's how talented this Rams team is. They went all in with Stafford for good reason. This is the best team in football, and a team that I'm not picking against for the foreseeable future.
Echoing everything Austin said. Best team in football. Adding Matt Stafford has just raised the ceiling dramatically with this team. They're the best team in football, and I don't think it's all that close at the current moment.
I'm taking the Rams as well, and the last thing I'm going to ask you guys about this game is, are the Rams better than we thought they were going to be?
No.
No, because we were all
exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
Me and Hunter both picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what I thought, at least, that we were going to get out of them.
Yeah.
This is a championship caliber defense that was borderline a championship caliber team with Jared Goff at quarterback.
And there's no growing pains either.
Matt Stafford has been for a long time a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback in the league. that doesn't ever get any credit because he's stuck in Detroit. He's awesome and has been for a very long time, but hasn't had any help.
It's better than Josh Allen.
I agree.
I won't disagree. All right, let's move on. Next, we've got the other NFC West matchup this weekend. We've got the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco's a 2.5-point favorite at home after coming off the game-winning field goal by your boy Mason Crosby, Hunter. What do you guys think? What do you guys make of the 49ers? Because, like, since the Super Bowl, they had, the injury problems last year. But I just don't feel like they're at that caliber that they were. I don't think they're as much of a threat as they were their Super Bowl season.
No, I don't think they're that much of a threat. But this is still a really good team, and it's a very solid defense. The problem is that they played Aaron Rodgers last week, and that makes it a lot harder to play defense. This is my lock of the week. San Francisco is going to annihilate them. Minnesota ran all over Seattle with the not so innovative scheme that Minnesota runs. Kyle Shanahan might run for 300 yards in this game. They're going to run all over Seattle. And that defensive line with Nick Bosa is going to be able to pin their ears back and go get it. And that'll be the end of that.
I'm in lock with you, Austin, on these last two picks. I really have nothing to add. I was going to mention the fact that they ran the ball crazy on them last week, and that's what's going to happen again. Niners are too good of a team, top to bottom, to lose to a Seattle team that has a defense that's struggling the way that it is. Offensively, Seattle really needs to set the tone in this game if they're going to win. They have to get the ball first, I think, and they have to go down, get 7, and play their game. Because if it becomes a throwing competition when they're down, we've seen before with Seattle that just does not work, no matter how good Russell Wilson is.
I had a thought and it keeps escaping me. It had something to do with this game. The dog doesn't help me. It was a good guess, Santo, but that's not what I was thinking. Yeah, I'm going with the 49ers in this one. I think after the last game against the Packers, I don't think they're going to lose. Yeah, I really can't remember.
You know what's mind blowing to me? 78% of the public money is on Seattle right now to cover the spread.
Even better.
I don't understand.
I feel
that.
really good about this 49ers pick.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we'll all walk away with the dub this weekend.
Probably not, but
more than likely not. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We've got the Baltimore Ravens at the Denver Broncos, City by the Bay. Denver is a 1.5-point favorite at home. I think the desert here is thinking pretty highly of Denver. I know I was kind of talking them up last week, but I don't think they're good enough to be favorited against the Ravens. I'm going with Baltimore in this one. Let's see. I think this is a good test to see if Denver's for real or not too, and see if Teddy Bridgewater can actually compete against a good offense. Because I don't have any issues with Denver's defense, but we got to see if they can keep up with scoring.
I'm taking Denver.
Attaboy.
Team is just good enough top to bottom to win games as long as their quarterback's not screwing them over. And Bridgewater doesn't do that. That's my analysis. I think they're at home here. I think that the Broncos got it together now with their quarterback. I don't think they're going to win anything major. They're not going to be a playoff threat, but games like this are the games that teams like this win.
Yeah.
Do you think Teddy Bridgewater, if he takes his team to the playoffs, do you think because the Broncos have such a bad history of drafting quarterbacks, they signed Teddy B to another 2-year contract or something?
100%. If they make the playoffs, they're not screwing around. They're re-signing them.
No, they're not. They're trading for Aaron Rodgers.
No, Teddy Two Gloves is the guy. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to Cleveland.
This is Denver. And to me, this was almost my lock, but I like the San Francisco line a little better. Teams that run the ball a ton don't fare great or run the ball at a high tempo don't play well up in Denver. This game being at home, altitude being a factor, coming off of a very emotional, physical game with Detroit last week. Denver's got a very good defense. To Hunter's point, Teddy Two Gloves doesn't screw you over, and that's really all they need out of him. Vic Fangio's a very good head coach, he's a very good defensive coordinator.
Yes,
which is still his active role with the team. And he's going to confuse Lamar. They're going to get a few interceptions out of him when he's trying to force some stuff, and that'll be enough for good old Teddy Covers to take care of business here.
I like your insight, and I would change my pick if I was a weaker man, but I'm going to stick with my Baltimore pick. But I do like the reasons you gave, and I agree with really everything you said, but I'm going to stick with Baltimore. But I do think this Denver team is good. We'll talk more about them later when we do our little buy or sell activity. Next on our list, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Green Bay Packers. Hunter coming off a big win, dude. 6.5 point favorites at home. Hunter, I'm going to give you the floor right now if you like it, because you just got a big smile on your face. Let's let the camera just let you shine here and talk about your Packers.
It's so, Austin, I know you'll never know this feeling. It is.
Nope.
It is.
I'm sure I don't know what you're going to say, but probably not.
It is so comforting to know that no matter what the situation, your quarterback is good enough to just bail you out no matter how bad you played. Last game, we played the Niners. We played pretty well, I'd say, the first half, and it kind of fell apart on us. Defensively, obviously, we suck, and that was kind of exposed there towards the end of that game. But we have a quarterback that's good enough to bail us out of any situation. So that's just it's always a great feeling, but it's also scary because the second that he's gone, I know it's all going to go sideways. But
Colts fans.
That's fair too, yeah, honestly. When Phillip Rivers left.
Yep.
I'm taking Green Bay here to cover, and that's more of a reflection of Pittsburgh. Green Bay's defense is bad, and they should be able to move the ball against it. Problem is their quarterback is absolutely cooked right now. And I don't know how you could argue that he's not, honestly. This is 3 games in a row now where he's looked very, very bad.
Yeah.
At this point, I would be very, very surprised if Big Ben made it through the whole season as the starting quarterback.
What are you going to do?
No, I know. That's the thing, though, is like, what do you do? Like, do you really want to take out this guy that had won Super Bowls? Like, at some point, you kind of got to just break it off. But you don't have anything better unless Dwayne Haskins comes in and starts taking selfies with fans in the middle of plays. I don't know.
Nah, he's not good.
No,
the offense isn't good, but what are you going to do? You don't bench him.
I think so. Offensively, I think they have good weapons. The offensive line is terrible. It's really bad. I think the receiving core is,
They have okay weapons. They don't have a number 1.
I'm a lot higher on Claypool than you are.
You think he's number 1?
Yes, but he doesn't get the targets. He doesn't have a quarterback to throw him the ball.
You think Claypool's a legit number 1 in the league?
Yes, I do. If he gets the ball and if they draw up plays for him.
I don't think he's the number 1 on his own team right now.
I do.
I don't think you can be a number 1 if you have to have plays drawn up for you.
Or you have to have a quarterback that can throw the ball.
I think he's got the potential to be the number 1.
Yeah, I think
he's not there yet.
Yeah,
of course he's not there yet. I'm just saying the same thing.
Okay, maybe we're on the same side of this.
The offensive line isn't good. Najee's super great, but I don't know that we're ever going to be able to see it because Pittsburgh needs an entirely new offense outside of part of the receiving core. The offensive line isn't any good. The play calling isn't fantastic. The quarterback play is just not good at all. I mean, Ben's legitimately a bottom 4 or 5 quarterback in the league right now. But you can't bench him. For what he's done for that organization, you cannot bench him. When you that's what you agreed to when you signed up for it, is you agreed to this for better or worse, and it's worse.
One more thing to add about the Steelers. I'm taking the Packers in this one, also because the Steelers defense has been super banged up this year quietly. Like Tua hasn't been there. TJ Watt has been banged up, and he's questionable for Sunday. So I'm going with the Packers.
I am as well.
That wraps up that talk. Moving on to the Sunday night game, which is going to be a blowout. It's Tampa Bay going back home. It's going to be the homecoming. It's that time of year, too, for homecomings. Tom and Brady and Gronk are having their homecoming in New England, at New England, and they're 6.5-point favorites at New England. Yeah, I think the Bucs are going to blow the doors off them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be close. Like, Mac Jones has been decent, but, like, they don't have the weapons, and it's not like he can't carry a team. He's never going to be that guy. But,
so,
like,
if you take out the whole Tom-Bill rivalry, you just put these two teams on a sheet of paper, what is the spread? 10.5? 11.5? Right?
Yeah, could be, yeah.
I mean, the only thing that they're factoring in is they think Bill is going to do enough to keep it close.
Bill's like, I know how to stop this guy. Nobody wants to ask me, though.
Don't give him receivers.
We got to find a way to make them bench Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Tell Gronk to go back into retirement.
New England should have won last week, I think. They were defensively, they played good enough that game to win that game. There's a couple of plays that went one way or the other. Example, Jameis just throwing it up in the end zone. The difference in that game was, I don't know if I want to contribute that to the Saints defense or the Pats offense, but the Pats could straight up not move the ball at all. Like, they cannot move the ball. And they're kind of playing a team this week that's not got a whole lot worse of a defense than the team they played last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mac Jones had his first rookie game of the season last week against the Saints, because Sean Payton's also a pretty good defensive coach. And he threw his first interception and his second and his third interception all in the same game. So Mac Jones didn't play great last week. But that's, rookies, they have to have those weeks.
Sean Payton actually historically is better against rookie quarterbacks than Bill Belichick is.
It's pretty impressive because Belichick's pretty good.
Yeah, both quarterback rating and overall record, Payton's better.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, it's got to be crazy high because Belichick's is also, like, really, really good.
Belichick's is actually only really good at home.
Oh, is
he's
it?
13-0 at home, but he's like 7-6 on the road.
Against rookie QBs?
Yeah.
I wonder who those rookies were. Anything else to add about this game?
Nah.
Hunter, you took the Bucs?
Yeah, taking the Bucs to cover here. They just can't score with them.
Nope. Not at all.
No, for sure. Next on the list, I've got the Monday night game. Hunter, you know what that means, dude. Monday night, dude, Chris Berman for the halftime booth, and you've got the Las Vegas Raiders at the Los Angeles Rams. Those two teams should be sharing a stadium, but the NFL had other ideas. And I think Gruden and this one, dude, I think I'm going to take the Raiders. I actually hadn't drawn up who I was going to take in this one, baby. But I'm taking the Raiders on Monday Night Football.
These are two teams that try their hardest to lose every game and somehow end up winning this year. Austin, I want to hear what you have to say first.
I don't even know what to think. Brief backwards to last year or to last week. Has a team ever tried so hard to lose a game?
Both of these teams try to lose every week and they win.
Yeah, but the last week, the pure mismanagement that Staley had for the Chargers, What are you doing? You had 48 seconds, 1st and 10 at like the 28 or something. And the Chiefs only had one timeout. Run the ball twice, call timeout with 3 seconds left, and kick a chip shot field goal. Why in the world do you continue passing the ball? And then why do you score? And then you don't even make Kansas City use the timeout that they had? I couldn't believe it over and over and over again. I felt like a replay last year and how Anthony Lynn was running everything out there, which terrifies me for Justin Herbert.
Love me some Anthony Lynn as a person, though.
You gotta throw that in at the end of every.
I do. I really like Anthony Lynn. I hope he's enjoying offensive coordinator job in Detroit.
Yeah, I don't get it. Oh, he's in Detroit? Wait, that means we have back-to-back NFL Coach of the Year matchup this weekend between Matt Nagy and Anthony Lynn.
Wow.
They both won Coach of the Year
Consecutively. Yeah, it's to me it's the Chargers just because I trust Herbert way more than I trust Carr. Staley's a really good defensive coordinator. We saw that this weekend, confusing Mahomes, making him run around, and the fact that Joey Bosa is still one of the best pass rushers in the league. So I think Bosa is going to take care of business, and I think the Chargers got it here.
It's a tough pick for me.
Yeah, it hurts me too. Like, even though I'm taking the Raiders, like, because I like both of these teams. I really enjoy watching Raiders games. But I also, you guys know, I love Justin Herbert. Like, he's probably right now my favorite quarterback to watch in the NFL. So it hurts me to go against Herbert, but something about this Raiders team in prime time, dude. Hunter, who are you taking?
I'm taking the Raiders as well. And I'm taking them for one reason only. Derwin James separated his... Yeah, I know. That honestly is a big reason. No, it's because Derwin James separated his shoulder. I think if Derwin...
Is it week 2 already?
Is playing...
I hate that. I like that dude too. He's so good. Like,
yeah. Derwin James is hurt by week 2 every year, so...
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's so good.
Stay healthy.
Bob Sanders, bro. 2.0.
Yeah,
does that mean if Derwin James stays healthy for a whole season, the Chargers will win a Super Bowl?
Maybe. The defense with him on the field is I don't remember the exact stats, but it's drastic.
Yeah, it's drastic.
It's drastic when he's on the field. They said Travis Kelce in games that Derwin James played against him was averaging 39 yards receiving going into last week.
Which is why I'm taking the Raiders here, because if he was playing this game, he would be matched up against Waller.
Waller, though, was quiet last week. Waller had a pretty quiet week because the other receivers for this Oakland team, just kidding, Vegas. This Vegas team, the other receivers have finally kind of put it together. Ruggs looks like a decent deep threat receiver now, like other than unlike he was last year. Not saying he's a great one. I'm just saying, he's filling that role. Bryan Edwards actually looks like he's playing a decent, like, number 2 or 3 receiver. But that's all you need, like, those guys to be when you have Darren Waller, who's your consistent targets, and John Gruden draws up easy pass plays and a lot of screen plays to move the ball. They're just the most efficient offense in the league. Efficient, not just the overall best. The overall best is the Rams offense, but the Raiders are definitely efficient.
There's a way that I think James comes back and plays this game, though. No one's ruling him out for what I'm seeing. So that might change things a little bit, but
yeah, you can pop that shit back in.
The way that it is right now. I mean, Baker did it. Baker's a warrior, though. He's just built different.
It wasn't his throwing arm. God, I hate it.
Did you see him say he still made a block, though?
Yeah.
Is that our picks for the week?
That is our picks for the week, dude. All right, let's do a quick 8-minute segment of buy or sell. This is how we're going to do it. I'm going to read them off, and then you guys are going to buy or sell them. And then that'll be the show.
Okay. What's the first one we got?
First on the list, we're going to have some fun. We're going to start with the Las Vegas Raiders. And we're going to say that buy or sell, Raiders winning the AFC West.
Sell it. Selling it 100%. The Chiefs are coming back and winning this division. They just got to get a few things figured out. It's not panic time for the Chiefs. Chiefs fans, you guys are good. You guys are going to be fine. Look at the Raiders' schedule the rest of the season. How hard is this thing? Let me look at this real quick. Go ahead, Austin. You give your thoughts on this. I'll look this up.
The Raiders are the third best team in this division. They definitely aren't winning it. The Chargers will finish second. The Chiefs will finish first. As long as John Gruden's the coach, the Raiders aren't winning this division. I just don't trust him.
It's really not that tough of a schedule for the Raiders, but they're going to have to play down the stretch here. The Chiefs again, obviously. Cowboys, that's going to be a tougher matchup. They have the Chiefs twice, actually. The Browns as well.
Because their division.
Oh, yeah. I just was saying that, actually.
It's all right. You needed to say it so that Chiefs fans knew because they don't know how many times they play someone in a year.
Yeah, they do not know that. But yeah, I don't see how they're the number one team in this division. And if they do finish first in the division, they're losing first round? Because they're not getting that bye.
Nope.
No, they're not going anywhere in the playoffs if they make it. As in the Oakland, the Las Vegas Raiders.
So I'm selling to be to play the game.
Yeah, that was yours. That was almost too easy of a sell.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the 3-0
easy.
start and they got 2 games up on the division on the Chiefs, but I trust the Chiefs more to win 13 games this season than I do the Raiders. It's pretty much how I'm going to look at it. Next up, here's another one. Buy or sell the Cincinnati Bengals finishing above the Pittsburgh Steelers in the division.
Buying it. I'm buying it. The Steelers are not good. I think they missed the playoffs this year. I think the first year with Tomlin that we're going under 500 year for the Steelers.
You think this would be like the first time, and someone needs to look that up like somewhere, and it needs to be a stat that I hear later down the season, is when was the last time the Pittsburgh Steelers came in last in the division? Because for them to come under Cincinnati's not coming in second. So that would be Pittsburgh coming in last.
Right.
That's why I'm selling that, because there's no way the Steelers come in last place.
I'm buying it. I think the Steelers do finish last in this division. This division, I don't think is nearly as good as we thought it was going to be. The Ravens have struggled big time. Pittsburgh is not very good. I don't think Cincinnati's very good, but I think Cincinnati's good enough to beat a couple of these bad teams and rake up enough wins. Maybe 6-7 wins, and finish over Pittsburgh. Because as long as Ben is playing the way he is, that team ain't doing nothing.
All right. Next on our list, let's switch NFC. Buy or sell 3 playoff teams coming out of the NFC West, which that division for you listeners is the San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks, and the Arizona Cardinals.
Buying it. Who's the team that's left out, though, is the question.
Seattle.
Correct. It is the Seattle Seahawks.
Austin, you buying that?
I'm sorry, I was looking up your stat. Pittsburgh has never finished last in the NFC North, or AFC North.
Yeah, I don't think so.
They, Arizona and Los Angeles and, I'm blanking on San Francisco. I think they all make the playoffs. Seattle is not. I don't have confidence in the other divisions. So I think 2 wild cards come out of that division. I think only one team out of the NFC North and the NFC East are making it, and then I think you have the Saints and Bucks.
All right.
AJ, you said you were buying that as well, right?
I am buying it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought it would have been if I'd have said all 4, I think we could all pretty easily sell that, because I don't think. I mean, as good as the Seahawks could be, it's just really. I mean, in the NFL, there's never been the ability for all 4 teams to make it in a division until like these last couple of years when they expanded the playoffs. But that'd be kind of wild for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be all for it. I'm absolutely all for all 4 teams making it. I like watching all 4 teams. Next one I've got. The AFC is more loaded with teams than the NFC is. Buy or sell?
See, it just depends. The thing with this question, it depends on how you define loaded. Because as far as the top teams, if we're going with just the top teams, I think the AFC is 100% better. As far as competitive teams that could definitely switch positions in the division, I think it's NFC. The NFC is more competitive with themselves. That's how I would answer the question. Agree?
Yeah, I'm trying to think because, like when I think about it, the AFC East holds back the AFC and so does the AFC South with, the teams other than the top teams in the division. I think the AFC North has two decent teams in it, or two good teams in it, being Baltimore and Cleveland. And then I think the AFC West right now is doing pretty good with, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and the Raiders. But then when we look NFC, I'm trying to think of what division is like bad, and it's just NFC East. I think it's Dallas's division to lose.
The NFC North is bad. I mean, you have Green Bay.
I think the Vikings end up being over 500 and always are in a wild card race. Yeah, dude. You look out for Captain Kirkbuster.
God, how much money do you want to put on that? That would make them 8-5 after this week when they lose to Cleveland.
Austin's like, I need to go refinance my mortgage. Be right back. What do you think, Austin?
I mean, I think the top. I think there's the two best teams in the NFC are better than the two best teams in the AFC, in my opinion, being Tampa and the Rams.
Yeah.
Kansas City obviously hasn't shown they're as good as, well, so far. I still think they're going to be there at the end of the year, but I don't know. I think top to bottom, I think the NFC is a better conference. I think it's more competitive, but I don't think there's necessarily one team clear cut that's considered to be the Super Bowl favorite.
That's my thing in the NFC is that like you've got the Rams and the Bucks that are like the two clear favorites, and then you've got like a step down. You've got Green Bay and whoever else wants to throw their hat in there. But in the AFC, it's like, okay, well, the Chiefs, who are off to a pretty rocky start, but then who's the number two team? Is it Cleveland? Is it Baltimore? Is it?
It's definitely not Baltimore.
Buffalo?
It's Cleveland is the answer.
No, I think it's, to me, well, I think it's actually not bad because I think if you look at it like parallel to each other, I think you have Kansas City and Cleveland or Buffalo, or I would say it's Cleveland. And then you have like a step down, but also in their own class, I would put Buffalo and Green Bay of defenses I just don't trust. Green Bay obviously having the head up for having Rodgers over Josh Allen. But and then I think after those three teams on each side, there's a decent drop off toward teams that I really don't trust to win in the playoffs. Obviously, somebody has to, but
yeah, I think Austin, I think you and I are in sync with this one. Dibs on being Justin Timberlake. I got that in there.
What are the other members of NSYNC's name? Do you know them?
It doesn't matter.
You do know them, and you don't want to say it out loud.
I really don't know any of them. I just know if there's JT, because if you don't get dibs on JT real quick when you call an NSYNC right there, then you're lost just being like, I guess I'm the other guys. Yeah.
I think you can take all of the other however many members there are, and it still wouldn't be as good.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter after that. Whoever gets JT wins. Last buy or sell I had, this is the one that I thought of in the show. Buy or sell, Zach Wilson is a bust.
No, I'm selling that. It's too early to call any of these quarterbacks a bust.
I'm selling that. That's so stupid.
I'm buying it, dude.
Gosh.
You can count me out on the Zach Wilson train, and if he comes back and he ends up being really good, dude, I'll eat sand or whatever you want, dude. Like, I'll eat my words, but I don't think this guy's got it between the ears. I think he does, Hunter, have all of the athletic capabilities. He's got the speed, he's got the arm, but I don't think he's got it between the ears.
Guess we'll see.
Plus, he went to
Yeah,
BYU.
I think it's way too early to call any of these guys plus. We're in week 4.
I know. That's all right. I'll drive the train.
Hey, did you know that Peyton Manning set the record for rookie interceptions in his first season?
I did,
Wait, he
and
did?
you know, did you? You don't get, they're only saying that because I said that last night.
No, we're only saying that because every single person that ever talks about a rookie quarterback brings that up.
Yeah.
It's the
Peyton
dumbest
brings
thing
it
ever
up
to
too.
bring up.
Peyton wishes it to every rookie quarterback too. He says, "Hey, don't be afraid to go out there and break my record." Gotta love Peyton. Hey, speaking of, before we sign off, doesn't it stink that we don't get to see the Manning Bros on Monday night until week 7 now?
Oh,
I
I'm
thought-
out of football now.
I thought there was going to be I thought that them doing this Monday night would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know it's the Raiders again, but it's Justin Herbert too. Like, that would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome. It really would
Good
have been.
offensive matchups.
I would have
for
loved to
both
hear
teams.
both of them break down Herbert.
Yeah, but we don't get that. So I guess, I don't know. I'll have to watch it on mute or watch it with you guys, one of the two. Who knows? Anything else we want to add before we sign off for the day? Sorry that we went long, listeners. If you made it this far, here's a cookie. But there's no chance anyone listened to this far. And if you did, hey, hit us up. If there's something you want us to talk about, hit us up. If there's beers you want us to drink, hit us up, because Hunter and I are hitting up the Macadoodles. Macadoodles, we're coming for you.
Are we, though? We're going to forget again.
We're not going to forget.
Yeah, we are.
Forget.
I guarantee you next week we're sitting here without beers again.
We can't go a quarter of the season without beer, Hunter. That's what our podcast is known for.
It's
is
not
beer.
a quarter of the season anymore.
You're right. Sorry. I'll let you do the percentage. Yeah.
More than a
So,
quarter, less than a
You
quarter.
just want to. All right, we're signing off. Thanks for listening. Check us out, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. If you made it this far, you already follow us on that stuff. So just thank you. Till next time, take it easy.